Here at the HBCUHeritageHome.com, the place for all things Black genealogy books for generations to come, we explore in this conversation what African ancestor genealogy enthusiasts say we prefer in plantation tourism site stories. Essentially, we're asking here, what is our satisfaction score regarding our plantation tourism experiences? As it turns out, on a whole, we are unsatisfied with our Black genealogy tourism experiences at plantations. We rate these experiences not an A, not a B, but a C. As plantations remain a key choice for Black genealogy tourism, 24 African-ancestored genealogy enthusiasts answered questions in a 2019 survey assessing our satisfaction level with plantation tourism stories. Respondents reveal the contours of the stories that we prefer, and they assess the 5 typical story types of enslaved people that are conveyed at plantation sites. These 5 story types are of enslaved people who, 1, are maltreated by being whipped, raped, sold, ill-clothed, ill-fed, etc. 2, stories of enslaved people who self-emancipated by running away. 3, stories of enslaved people who led a revolt against enslavers. 4, stories of enslaved people performing a job well. And 5, stories of enslaved people having a positive personal relationship with their owner family or a family member thereof. A positive relationship could include the enslaved person showing kindness, civility, care, etc. to one or more members of a slave owner's family. Respondents reveal in the survey how much these story types uplift us and how our genealogy tourism satisfaction level can be maximized. With possible scores ranging from 24 to 120, respondents say we are most uplifted by stories of an enslaved person running away. That answer scores 104 on the satisfaction scale that peaks at 120. We're next most uplifted by stories of an enslaved person leading a revolt, with that answer scoring 99 on the satisfaction scale. In a tie with our level of uplift via stories of an enslaved person leading a revolt are stories of an enslaved person performing a job well. Again, scoring 99 of a possible 120 satisfaction points. Are less uplifted by stories of an enslaved person having a positive personal relationship with owner family members, in which the enslaved person shows kindness, civility, care, or other elements of agapic agency. These stories score 81 of a possible 120 on the satisfaction scale. These are the kind of plantation stories, for instance, that writer Joel Chandler Harris promoted with his Uncle Remus and Brer Rabbit plantation tales. And we're least uplifted by stories of an enslaved person being maltreated, by being whipped, raped, sold, ill-clothed, ill-fed, etc., scoring 46 of 120. Even though respondents say we are least uplifted by stories of ancestral trauma, plantation managers focus Black stories on the brutality of slavery and enslavers. This is in response to scholars and activists who demand that slave family trauma stories counter planter family grandeur stories. The thinking is that stories of Black trauma increase today's version of abolitionist activism among people who do not identify as African-ancestored Americans, and that such activism will inure to our benefit by justifying reparations. Respondents scored our overall agreement level with whether ancestral stories exhibited at plantations are uplifting at 17.875 of a possible 25 points. That is an average score. It's above neutral at 15, below agree at 20, and well below strongly agree, the ideal satisfaction level, at 25. This score constitutes ultimate dissatisfaction. In written survey responses, African-ancestored genealogy enthusiasts say we have a need to see stories of enslavement, and that need is the primary reason we visit plantations. Site providers' public relations strategy incentivizes depicting enslaved people's lives in ways palatable to a wide variety of visitors, not just Black descendants of enslaved people, and sometimes also descendants of enslavers. According to the National Trust for Historic Preservation, pluralism doesn't mean that you pick one story over another. It means that you make room for multiple stories, multiple truths to exist in one place. Primarily, we want stories of our ancestors, not of enslavers, unless the enslaver also is an ancestor, which is not uncommon. Want some of the plantation brutality and other ill treatment, such as in the book and movie 12 Years a Slave. We also want to see the beauty of family life. Written survey responses of what specific stories we want to see at plantations are consistent with our tied ranking at number 2/3 for being uplifted by seeing stories of enslaved people doing their work well. At the Bullock Hall Plantation in Roswell, Georgia, for instance, where President Theodore Roosevelt's mother was reared, tourists hear the words of conscientious worker Daddy William. Daddy William was owned and, after the Civil War, chose to stay near the family home of Martha Bullock Roosevelt, known as Mittie. Daddy William declares his reverence for the quality of his labor, in part by saying,
I curry and brush the horses and keep the harness oiled up and that buggy all clean and looking nice for when we carry the family to church on Sunday.
Daddy William adds,
I helped build this nice house you see today and worked many long, hard years for the family. Over those years, there were a great many goings on and some very important people who visited. 3 presidents have come: Theodore Roosevelt, Franklin Roosevelt and his wife Eleanor, and later Jimmy and Rosalind Carr. And you know that famous book, Gone with the Wind? The author, Margaret Mitchell, stopped by once. And so did neighbor Nap Rucker, the left-handed Brooklyn baseball pitcher who won the World Series in 1916. I didn't meet all those folks, but I did get to shake President Roosevelt's hand. After we slaves were freed at the end of the Civil War, Mom Grace and I chose to stay here in Roswell, and we kept an eye on Mother Bullock's home for many years.
everyone needs heroes, as Carter G. Woodson says, and the most inspiring stories throughout the history of mankind have provided those heroes via stories of great accomplishment. Overall, Black plantation tourists look for stories of our own ancestors, demanding that all plantation documents containing such stories or clues thereto be availed to us. We want stories of ancestors reading and writing, sending their children to school, and going to church, among others. This concludes our look at global slavery tourism, including plantation tourism, on our quest for ancestral home. Ancestral home is the place of positive ancestral self-identity, that we may rise uprooted for generations to come. And ancestral home is our destination in our Black genealogy books.